Welcome to full time. No, that's my podcast.
Plug.
Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show. Today is just me and Jeremy, but that's a lot if you think about it.
I have been enjoying your podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Got through a couple more episodes today. Well, Standing, the woodworking project I'm working on. One of your hosts turned into a co-host, or one of your interviewees turned into a co-host. It seems like. Yeah, Jacek.
Yes, he's a regular guy. I suppose he's a regular guest. We didn't use any terminology, but
Mm-hmm.
he comes on to do the Nick's release notes episodes.
Yeah, he's good.
Super valuable.
Yeah, I still haven't used the Nix debugger. Hopefully someday we'll get to try it out.
I have, and my experience was that it works, but then I don't know if it's some edge case or a recent bug, but it takes forever to hit the breakpoint.
Mm.
Like unreasonably forever, like a few minutes.
Well, yeah. Over printf debugging at that point.
Yeah. Take command.
All right. Take the helm.
Got the helm. Adage. Suppose I'm not on the correct branch.
Flatten error. Is that where we are? Can't
I think
remember.
we don't have. Do we have a branch now?
So we merged up. We probably merged up the flatten error, right?
We have PR list. No PR. Then I think we're back at OpenAPI.
The flatten error thing did land in me.
Yes.
Great.
API. Is it re? We'll find out whether it's rebased or not. Start. Log. Some next commits. Next. And then that does not look like it's rebased. So I will.
Let's do it.
Done. Dash base main. Push. Start. Dash pop. We have one conflict here. Creates API source lib.
Okay. No surprise there.
I'm taking updated upstream.
Looks good.
And I don't think there's another conflict here. I'm just doing mob next for the markers to go away.
Great.
Here is an error.
Awesome. Yeah. We need landed error to implement that API response rate. We figured out how we wanted to do it. I think we found an example, but I don't remember. Was it a derive macro?
I'm going to landed error. We're trying to derive it
Yeah,
here.
wonderful. Okay, so then we have to just do the like hashtag OAI thing.
Do we?
I think that's what it's saying, missing status attribute. So I think if you do like hashtag OAI, status equals.
All variants need this, but it errors for the first one.
Yeah. Why is it not complaining about all of them?
Because it's implemented sequentially and it chooses to error for
Oh,
the first.
I see. Okay.
OAI. I think it's like this, or
Mm-hmm.
you remember?
That's what I remember. And then status equals, and you can figure out the number from below
From below.
because we have that status function method.
PR number non-positive. That request is 400.
Or hundo. Sweet.
Next one.
All right.
SQLX. No.
This will be a 5.0 something or other.
I'm trying to use this jumping tool, and I'm not sure how I'm supposed to. Okay.
Good.
That's it.
Oh, sorry about that.
500. Let's see if I can do this. Nope, it's wrong. I'm pressing the activation and then the character that I want to jump to, and I pressed big S, Shift S, and then I see all this. But I want to get to where the error is.
Okay.
Maybe it's like it's not showing me one for that. I don't see a key for that. I see a few to the back and many to the front.
This may not be what you wanted to hear, but are you aware of the built-in shortcut for navigating through diagnostic?
Oh, yeah, I am. So, actually, I may not, but I have my own.
You have something. It got added to NeoVim, I think, somewhat recently as a built-in.
Really, what is it?
Left bracket D as in diagnostic, and right bracket to go
So
forward.
that's my custom one.
Yeah, so you probably
Like,
maybe you got the idea from somewhere, and now it's built in.
so I can remove those?
You can.
Okay, I'll make a note.
Although, sorry.
I can try. What? You're not sure now?
No, I'm positive you can, but you're not going to want to because
It's not the same
it'll do
behavior?
the hover thing, and you don't want the hover thing.
What hover?
It'll hover it'll pop up a window displaying the
Oh,
diagnostic.
so my shortcut has like calling that function with false
Right.
on some flag.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good to know. And and I have another one that jumps, another plugin that jumps, and it's like I want to jump a word, like some words forward, but what this? Oh, I could have sworn. I don't see the problem now. I could have sworn that it like breaks the syntax, like LSP ends up checking on this thing
Oh dear.
instead of. but I
That
don't
would
see
be
that now.
too much. Yeah, this
I
seems
don't know.
reasonable.
Oh, did you see that? It did happen. Look, after I select, actually, I don't. Oh, it's like if there is two, if it's a combination of two, like I press J,
Oh boy. Target key. Okay.
right? Like this is syntax. I did have syntax errors, but not.
Yeah.
If I escape, I have only this one. Something
Lame.
must be going on there. Okay, this is 404. I mean, it's not found. I could have known. And
Okay.
rotated.
Start. 7. Whoops. Wrong branch. Word. Check out. Open API. Mob. Start. Oh,
Mob start also.
the reason I did get pull was because I interrupted the loading of my dev shell, so I wasn't going to have the mob tool. All right. So, what were we editing? API. Okay. OAI status 500. This
Pick
one's
the
not
first
happening.
one, please.
Right.
And what's
Great.
above it?
Above it. Oh,
The error. This error.
conflicting implementations of trait. Type colon. No.
From.
Have we written a from method? That would be down below, right? This thing.
Uh-huh.
That says conflicting. I don't know why. I also don't see any like warnings or error messages down here.
You won't. I think you won't see it there. It's because it's probably what I'm guessing is that the derive API response also
Mm-hmm.
expands to a from implementation.
And a from implementation that covers this from implementation.
Maybe covers it by trait, so that it's now ambiguous which one to use.
T stood error. Okay. Static. What is this? This is the Boolean and of all the things that T must be? Commas?
Yes.
Okay.
T is response error and error and send and sync and static.
Okay. Well, I don't believe that this thing is standard error. I don't believe is a. Oh shoot. I'm getting mixed up about the directionality of the from here. All right. From
From
landed error.
landed
That's this
error.
thing, which is different than what I was just looking at. This is from for PRR. So I guess that's
Yeah.
not relevant. Okay.
From landed error for type poem error. conflicting implementation in create poem. So poem has a from impl of t from t for poem error. Right? So where t is a response error, it can automatically there's an implementation.
Mm-hmm.
A response error and stood error.
Yeah.
And the trait bound, and there's another error unrelated, like possibly unrelated.
Into response is not satisfied.
Where is the other implementation of from
So this
landed
thing, is
error for poem error?
there any chance this will give us a pointer?
No, I don't. Where is it? I don't even see it. Conflicting implementation.
The error
This error.
originates in derived.
Okay, that's clear.
It doesn't.
Where's the other implementation?
Right. I don't think that's telling us here.
Maybe it is. It conflicts with what? With itself?
Yeah, I don't understand what it's saying.
So let's try to investigate that.
Conflicting implementation. I mean, is this a phrase worth Googling?
No, the the it's there somewhere. The our type landed
Are they
error.
just complaining that we haven't implemented into response? Is that why it's conflicting?
Mm, I can't see how that would solve it, and I don't think it's directly. If anything,
Yeah.
adding implementations could add conflict, not remove conflict.
Mm-hmm.
T, that implementation is a T where T is a response error. Is it a response error? No, I don't think so. But it is a stood error.
Yep. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It doesn't look like a stood error. Is it a stood error because of this?
Yes.
Okay.
But what is a poem? A poem error. Maybe there's implementation of already of converting any error for poem error. We just don't see it here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or maybe not any error, but some bounds.
Okay, well, I guess I'll let you look for it. Stop in the chair. I also do think we found this in one of the examples, so we could take a look at that.
Where's the documentation?
I think if you click on the README for Poem Open API, but I guess
It's
I don't
actually
know.
it's the poem.
I think API response, that's an Open API thing, right?
Yeah, but
Not a Poem thing.
it's the poem error that
Oh, okay.
this has from a bunch of froms.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tuple. That's not it. It's also a tuple.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a tuple. This is a box. This is an error. Oh, anyhow error.
Oh, wow.
That's not the case though. But there's a T. Stood error. There it is. That's the conflict.
Explain?
Do you get it?
No.
Here's the error. Here's the compile error. It says conflicting implementation of trait from landed error, for type poem error. So there's more than one implementation that allows this conversion, right? Or that, forget about from, right? Like that's not conversion. It's a trait implementation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have more than one trait implementations because then it would be ambiguous which one to use.
Okay.
So the trait is from. So the type is poem error, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the trait is from, and the type argument is landed error.
Yes.
This, if I do Rust LSP expand macro, probably find a from here. Yeah.
There it is.
So here's an explicit one. Okay. For poem error.
Okay.
That's one. And the other one is this one. Implementation in poem T, where T is actually this is response error. Well, then I'm assuming that our type implements response error as well. So it needs to implement response error and stood error and sentencing and static for error.
Mm-hmm.
Does our type have response error? I don't see response error here. API response. But maybe it implements response error because this poem response error. Is it response? Not response. Response error is poem as well. Response error.
Mm-hmm.
Implementors.
Oh, do we just need to comment out? We implemented that explicitly, and we don't need
Which
to, right?
response error?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Because that's how we wrote it pre-Open API stuff. So that stuff at the bottom. If you just comment that out, totally makes sense to me that these would conflict. Like here, we're specifying one way of turning this into a response, but then we're doing it in a completely different way up above with that OAI attribute.
I used to have something for commenting.
Oh, commenting is also built into NeoVim now.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the built-in key
I
binding?
don't know what the key binding is. Is it GCC?
Wow. That's cool. Line-wise. Log-wise?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I know it. Now
Oh,
I know it.
interesting. I didn't
Now I
know
know
about
it.
that.
Why did I have more options this time? Why do I have less options this time?
I don't understand. What other options? I missed it. Oh, why?
Paste.
There's all the stuff you can do when you have a selection, because you can uppercase it, lowercase it.
I had a selection in both cases.
Oh, yeah, good point. I
Okay,
don't know.
it's
Maybe Vim
gone.
knows to back off when you've got code because. Okay, did that change things at all?
That is gone. There's no
Great,
conflicting implementation. Well done.
cool.
Rotate it.
Oh, start 7. Here we go. Right. Into response is not satisfying. Bummer. Is that just a matter of like getting its component pieces happy, and then everything will work?
Probably.
Okay, so I'm going to skip past that. Look at this one. So it needs to be a response content. So it needs a payload. Totally makes sense to me that that's missing because we specified the status code, but we haven't said what the body should be. And then
So
this one's happy because it has an error. I guess that's the body.
they all have. The error. Wait.
Like if I'm not saying this is what we want to do, but if I do
They all
this,
have. No. Error that has error transparent, right? That's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
There's no
I just want
difference.
to. I think I'm confused about. Oh, it's because these are data bearing. That's the difference. Okay. I was just trying to understand, like, why was this one not erroring out, but this one is,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess because of the data bearingness.
Yes.
So we could solve both of these by making them not data bearing, and then removing the error transparent.
PR number non-positive error. Is that from the store?
I would expect it to be.
So maybe there is an attribute. And are we using these at all?
I don't know that we are, other than the error transparent. I would guess that we're not.
Okay. Well, but this type, the error transparent might be useful for debugging,
Yeah,
but not for the
it's
user.
also part of our public API, right?
Is
This
it?
is the thing that gets sent over the wire, right? As the HTTP body,
Mm,
or at least it will be the thing that gets sent over the wire.
I think we might not be doing that.
I guess what are we doing right now in main? Here we just do error sorry, and here we do actually, I guess, called the underlying display on the.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess if we want to preserve our current API, like not change any user-facing stuff, we need this string to show up.
I
If we want
wouldn't be concerned with preserving error strings.
to, okay, I'm fine with that too.
We should probably look at what attributes this macro derived macro takes.
This OAI thing.
They're that's where they're placed, but this is in the documentation of the API response.
here's the derived max. Oh yeah, we've seen this. Some very funky stuff. But here we go. Status, content type, actual type, header. When converting a response to an error, the error message comes from the display trait. That's relevant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at least for one of these, namely PR number non-positive, I think. We do want it to come from,
I think
no,
we need
sorry,
new
for PR not
types.
found.
Either we do new types so that we could implement traits for them, API create new types that correspond to the error types from the store crate, or we don't do data bearing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way we're using these right now, it seems fine to make them not data bearing to me, but what do you prefer? I just don't have any Rust intuition here about what feels more correct.
Let's try. I don't think that we lose anything that we promised our user.
Okay, so that goes like that goes like that, and then we just explicitly mention an error. So this will be error, sorry. And then for PR not found, we'll say error PR not found, but I don't actually know what the original text was. I guess we'll take a look in a moment. Okay, and then here we construct it without using the internal thing. Oh, is that it? Okay, that's all fast. Object. Go for it. So I deleted the from for this conversion from landed error to whatever. So we could write the from, or we could do the conversion explicitly here.
No, we should write the from.
Okay.
What type is it? Landed error. There's a from for PR error, and we need a from
PR not found error or something.
not found.
Great.
Am I right? No, it's not found. It's, what is this? Try into. This takes a PR number. So it's just converting a I32 to a PR number. Try into converting. So PR number. There's a try from. The error is PR number, non-positive error.
Okay. I see. This is just lame because these are also gonna need to explode up above.
Here it is. I
Oh,
wonder
there's only
whether
one. PR number, not positive. Okay, I don't know why I thought it was not found. I got confused. So the text I wrote there is very wrong.
from your number non-positive error or landed.
Great. And then we just return.
No.
Okay.
That's what meant.
And then can you fix line 101? PR not found is just so bogus that I was super confused when I wrote that. Okay. It looks like we might be using periods on these. Great.
Unused async.
Okay.
Macro error must be async.
Thanks. Fight amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Uh-oh. Warning about us allowing a warning.
clippy.
Okay. Sweet. Are we in business?
I have 10 errors because of removing some unused.
Supposedly unused.
This is fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good old 2JSON. We tried to implement that, I remember.
Maybe it removed something it shouldn't have. No, it's okay. I have an error of a warning here. Oh, we know this one. Anyway, let's try cargo test.
Mm-hmm. Dash all something or other.
No, cargo
Cargo
test.
test will do the whole workspace, all the crates in them.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. No.
Test JSON. JSON of what? What is test JSON?
I don't remember.
How do we know? Hmm. Well, it's
Red JSON panic that. I mean, I guess you did Rust backtrace equals 1, maybe?
it tells us that it's pure tracker API here,
Okay,
but that's
panic,
not canonical. That's
hey. Okay. Test. And it makes sense that OpenAPI is failing. We haven't written. We're TDDing. This is exciting. We are querying an endpoint, and it's complaining about invalid URI. Kind of odd. But not the way we've done our other Git. I guess I need to find a test. API test, test. Oh, it starts with slashes. Maybe we need that. There's a moment. Okay, moment of truth. Great, fails in a different way. That's what we want. So now we're getting a 404, which absolutely makes sense. So I think we've earned the right to actually try to add the OpenAPI docs, shall we?
did we not? What's missing?
We haven't done it yet, I think. Maybe we have. Sorry. The OpenAPI service. Okay, sorry. We've probably done it, and we just made a wild ass guess for the purposes of this about where the docs are going to show up. But we haven't told it to host the docs, the JSON on the doc.
Show us the example.
Which example? Sorry, like in the home repo.
What is EP?
Where's the EP?
I would need line numbers
Oh,
for that.
yeah. A type hint or name hint, name of the parameter to the endpoint. Yeah,
So
the first one.
what is so nesting UI? When we do nest UI on 937, that
Yeah,
Swagger UI, that's only the UI. Is this? It's not the JSON.
I don't know. Maybe the JSON. It would be nice to be able to run this thing, open up the UI, and maybe that would show us where the JSON is. But
Any
we don't
chance
have
that
a.
by the next session we'd have inlay hints that are gray?
I mean, uh, I'd love to make that happen. We could also
You want
turn off
help with
inlay
it?
hint. Sure. Do you want to take a look now?
Sure.
Okay. So
Are you happy with your color scheme? Because one one option is to use something that is pre-curated, like Cat Puccin.
So I am not happy with my color scheme. However, I am very opinionated because I want to use a color scheme that operates in like the set of like base 16 like non-RGB colors because I want to be able to do things like toggle my color scheme from light to dark and have my editor like just work.
Toggle your color scheme to what?
So like I have like I have this tooling to change the color scheme of all my terminals. And I work very carefully to only use like you know how like terminals have these like 16 colors that are like named. They're like red, yellow, whatever. They're
Yeah,
not like absolute
the old
RGB values.
colors,
Yeah,
first gen.
right. And so I have a color scheme for Vim that only uses those 16 colors. And the idea is that I can then like change my color scheme of a terminal, and it's not like Vim needs to like react and say, "Oh, okay, now I gotta like go, change my background color to some other RGB value." It's just like using like the
Why is
named.
16-bit color a requirement of toggling?
Well, sorry, it's not specifically about toggling. It's about being able to change my color scheme and then have everything update. And so the most common thing I do
Mhm.
is toggling, but I also use it for like, I don't know, when SSHing somewhere. Like
How does this toggling work?
this uses a open source project called With Alacrity under the hood that updates all of my Alacrity uh, terminal configurations.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like I
And
mean
what
for the
does it
purposes
update?
of sorry,
What does it set?
it updates
Can you
like
show me the current?
the
Can
current
you show me
what?
the current electricity config and then toggle it so I see the change?
Okay, yeah. So with Alacrity, will it show me where?
Isn't it like the original?
This is in. Oh, okay. So echo was dollar. No, I don't know how to do history dash APL. Oop, here we go. All right. So each of my alacrities runs with their own config file. So like this specific alacrity instance right here for this PID has
Mm-hmm.
this config file, which is generated from these like. So what with alacrity does is it basically lets you have like uh with alacrity git global, and this will like so it's got some like global settings
Seems like
and
this is much more powerful than what you're using it for.
uh like yeah it could it's for arbitrary alacrity settings. I just use
What
it.
possible use? Like, who made this and why? Like, with a like, who? I never said I wanted two terminals with different settings. I don't even, it's almost. So I get here is your use case,
Yeah,
and it's just a
well,
set of named colors that are changing here.
yeah, well, I mean that's all I'm setting, but I mean I also use it because when I'm like plugging into my monitor, it has like a different DPI than my laptop, so I use it to change like the font size across all of my terminals.
Huh.
And then to answer your question about why it exists because it's a project I created. So it's like there was like a feature request for this on Core Alacrity a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and Chris Dwyer, the creator or maintainer of Alacrity, was like, nah, I'm not gonna build this, but somebody could like build this open source project to do it this way if they wanted to, and then I was like, okay, sure, I'll go build that. And so that's what this thing is.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure. But the that's the reason why I try to operate in like the named color scheme, or in the like named subset of colors.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I have stupid stuff like this. Uh, so we don't have to like solve it this way right now. Like if we want to pick an absolute
But
color scheme
right.
that is
It's
like
it's a
you're
lot
happy
of
with,
what's an absolute cost?
like one that uses RGB values rather than I think they're called like relative color schemes, ones that use um the named color.
Uh-huh.
I'm not the only like person on earth who cares about this stuff. Like uh Vim Dim is the one I use right now. And yeah, it's like all about this philosophy of like, you know, just inheriting the colors from your terminal rather than you know,
Mm-hmm.
Vim having opinions about colors, which, you know, then means if you want to like toggle from bright light to dark, you like
Mm-hmm.
have the pain of like, I gotta notify every Vim process that my system is dark now, and they all need to go change their color scheme accordingly.
Okay, okay. I couldn't do this because I usually use Vim not in a terminal.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I don't know what the I mean I suppose there's what is GNOME or someone pushing for some sort of like I
And
guess there's
environment
like a concept
defined
of like
color
light
scheme.
and light and dark, like
Yes,
dark mode or light mode,
there is.
which is like a specific version of this.
So you don't care directly, but it's not like you don't value having less colors. You just want control over flipping at runtime,
Exactly.
dark, bright.
Yeah. And there's a this is it. This is the blog post that inspired me forever ago to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
16 ANSI
It's an
color
imposed
clears.
limitation.
I mean, I wish it wasn't only 16. You know, like I it would be fine for it to be a richer set, but yeah,
Well, look, gray is there.
I know exactly. So it's like just a matter of like I don't know. I like maybe the fix here is to tell Vim like, hey, the
Mm-hmm.
named color you asked for should be something different. But I like
Yeah,
have no idea how
inlay
to do that.
hints. And can you flip again? What is it if we flip toggle? It
It
actually
feels like
remains
it's
the
an
same.
absolute color. Like maybe Vim's just asking for an absolute RGB here.
Mm-hmm. And that would be that's a core feature called inlay hints.
L inlay. Oh boy,
I
the
see two. I saw another thing. HL
that
at the
last
end.
one here
Yeah.
used for highlighting inlay hints. I like the sound of that. What is this? Is this a color? Highlight groups. Okay. print these things out?
To highlight a specific inlay hint in order to make it attract attention, perhaps.
I think highlighting might just mean coloring.
Hmm.
Like it's not specifically about attracting attention.
What page are we on?
This is in lsp.txt.
And is that like an index?
Not very familiar with NeoVim's help system, but I guess
Perhaps
so.
go back to the general inlay hint documentation, because I don't see what, like, it just says some description of something.
Well, I mean,
LSP inlay hint.
I think this is the name of a highlight group.
LSP highlight, reference highlights, highlight groups that are meant to be used by Vim LSP buff document highlight. You can see more about the differences in types here. LSP reference text, reference read, reference write, LSP inlay hint, and a bunch more.
Whoa. LSP doc. Okay, so there are different types of highlights that the server requests. Read, write, and text. So, Vim show color for highlight.
Do you have the REPL by now?
Maybe do highlight. I don't have the REPL, but I'm down to install it. There we go. Okay, so LSP inlay hint links to non-text. And then it's just like recursive. Term FG, foreground. Okay, I don't remember what these are.
GUI
Term
FG.
Well, I
GUI
think
foreground.
is that for when you're
Blue.
using Vim in a GUI? And this is for when it's in a terminal.
Hmm.
Vim.
What is that though? Is that a number? Was that a number?
Yeah,
So 12 is blue?
maybe.
I bet 12 is blue.
Certainly looks blue. uh, so
Can you change this real time? Runtime?
probably.
Do you want to install
Uh,
the REPL? Because
sure.
maybe
Would we? That's a Lua REPL though.
you can take a look at my. It is a Lua REPL. I'm just guessing everything can be done via VimScript, can be done via Lua.
I bet it can. Um, let's take a look. IDIM, full, REPL, Neo REPL.
Yeah.
Neo REPL. Okay. And then packages, Neo Vim, you package next, okay, and / neo REPL next. Okay, great. Next build / neo.
Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Are you referring to Vim next? Next Vim?
Mm-hmm.
I am happy that we are both using it. Okay, so now I can do a next run, vim, and then I can do leader R and see what happens. Hello, 1+1. Okay, I'm in a REPL. How do I do things? How do you use this thing?
You press enter. I think you're pressing escape or something.
I am pressing enter.
But in insert mode. Stay in insert mode.
Ah, got it. Okay, so wherever you are, I could do vim.print. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's meant to be edited this way. You might find it to be useful in some way, but I just use it as a REPL so far. And it has completion.
Oops, not like that. Use tab. What? I don't think I understand the greater than or the less
Maybe they got out of sync.
than. Result in 1+1 enter. 2+3.
No.
Yeah, and then plus one again. Oh no,
Well,
it's just the very first one is greater than or something.
mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Those Git?
I don't have any git gutter stuff,
Hmm.
so I don't think so.
Well, then I don't know what it means.
All right. So now we're gonna have to figure out how to do highlight groups in Lua. Vim Lua highlight groups. Nvim set HL. Okay. Nvim get HL ID by name. Get a highlight group by name. That would be the one that we were doing. Vim.print.
I think you don't need print here.
Right. Good point. This would be LSP inlay. Nope. Okay. It's probably what, like in some context that I'm not aware of. Vim.api maybe.
Just Vim dot, maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Nope. Vim.api
No.
apparently. So that gives us an ID. Not exactly it. HL. Get HL. Maybe that's the one. Get all or specific highlight groups in a namespace. I don't know what a namespace is.
LSP?
Get existing non-anonymous namespace. Okay. Vim.api. Interesting. Okay. This is probably context specific, right? Like depending on the buffer I have open. If
Don't
I
know.
do that over here, vim.print lua vim.print of, yeah, there are more here. So vim lsp inlay hint, probably the one we care about. Then what do you do with these namespaces? You can pass them to nvim get hi. Okay. You can give it n namespace ID, and you can ask for a specific highlight definition by name. Okay. So I could ask over here for number 10. Let's say vim.print lua vim.print of vim.api.that 10 record 2 arguments. Okay, it really wants ops, which is options dict, so I guess I'll give it a name.
Empty.
Or okay, empty, which then returns empty dict. Lovely.
Mm.
I guess I'll try saying name equals, and I'll use LSD in my hand. Nope, that also gives it.
But it was all.
Sorry, say that again.
It was already. That's not sure that's what name is.
Yeah.
I think name is within the group. There's a name. I think we saw the names earlier when you used Vim script to search. Like non-text is a name.
Non-text. So it gives us empty dict. I mean, the way I got to non-text was just by running highlight of LSP in my hand, which says links to non-text. So I'm inclined to just stick to Vim script.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'd like to understand what 12 is. Highlight. Please. NeoVim determine FD value. Like, I just want to know what the values are. Because here they're using names, right? Green.
I think you're looking for a general definition of terminal 16-bit color.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
All right. Color numbers ranges 0 to, not including the number of UI colors available. Depends on the terminal emulator. 256 colors by default. But I think these numbers are probably okay. Cyan, light cyan, NR16, 8 color terminal.
Well, looks like red and light
the number
red.
we were dealing with was 12. Thank you. Red, light red. What?
Maybe it's using GUI color.
Or one of these other ones, maybe. Read, write, text.
It is an inlay hint. Why would you think it's not an inlay hint?
Oh, good point. You're absolutely right. Highlight. Then does GUI after. Okay. Well, can I change this thing? Like, if I do hi. Does this work? Equal sign. Yeah, I do have vimdim cloned, so let me try non-text. Here we go. non-text is UEFG blue, C-term FG blue. Okay, so somehow that turns into a number. This is my actual color scheme. You can see that I've hacked on it before. Jeremy, less than crap here. So, I mean, I guess what I could try is setting this to something like light gray, right? Just kind of what we want.
Yeah, we are giving up on understanding how to use NeoVim to manipulate
Hey,
this.
that looks much better, doesn't it?
Sorry, the screen locked. Yeah, those look like inlay hints now,
Yeah,
but they also look exactly like your comments, don't they?
right. Well, with only 16 colors, that's the life I live, I guess. Do yours look different?
Good question. Let me share.
Thank you.
Uh, oh yeah, they look different because they have a background
Oh, I would like a background. That sounds
for
nice.
one, but I think they look different. Yeah, they're different gray and they have a background.
Hmm,
You want to see what it looks like?
sure. A background would be nice to sort of make it clear that it's not real text. Yeah. Okay.
But 16-bit backgrounds are intense because my background is only slightly different than my background,
Uh-huh.
and your background will not be slightly different, but very different.
It'll be completely different. Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Maybe
see.
italicizing them would be an alternative.
That's an interesting thought. Don't know how to do that with a highlight group. Not even sure if it's possible. Because C term equals bold, reverse. What is reverse?
What is reverse? It's reverse of what it would otherwise be, like the inverse
Oh,
color, maybe.
maybe. Helps C term. Do they explain? If you want to set the bold attribute in a different way,
If you want
reverse.
italic, perhaps search for italic.
Oof. That took us to a very different place. C term equals. Okay, let's try it. Italic. Maybe it's a thing. I mean, it's getting syntax highlighting in this context, whereas there it's not red. So, okay, let's try that. Wow, it is italicized. Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm happy enough with that. I don't know what the other places where none text is used, so I'm just going to leave a quick note to myself in case this confirms me in the future. Just trying to do that
I don't. Well,
here currently. Let's see. That's the problem. And then what I can do
I
is,
think this could be a contribution upstream for this project.
yeah, so VimDim is like extremely broken since some changes that NeoVim made
Hmm.
somewhat recently. And like there's a PR and then I don't think it's really the project's really maintained, and they moved to another color scheme. The person who put together that PR said I switched to this other color scheme, this other 16-bit color scheme, or fancy color scheme. So I need to check out that other thing. uh, but I haven't taken the time to do that yet. Update colors for Neo and blah. I ended up switching to another scheme. That's a space 16 dash Vim. Maybe would work better. So, but I don't have to take you on this adventure. We could
Scroll just a bit there.
sure.
Let's take a look at a comment. Here's a comment. Is there an inlay hint?
Mm,
Take a look in the code. It's just from one file, right?
I don't know what all this is.
They're all defining the same variables with different values. So just click one and see if you can see inlay hints.
Well, this is confusing to me. I wouldn't expect to see absolute colors here. This is supposed to be a
They're absolute, but they still are the correct values. That makes sense?
no.
No.
Like I don't want them picking the RGB values. I want my terminal emulator picking the RGB
Okay.
values.
Okay. Well, apparently that's not a constraint for the users of this. They just
Which is weird.
want it to be base
Right.
16.
Yeah. Which is weird because the way we got here, maybe this person didn't care about this for this. Maybe he wasn't using VimDim for the same reasons I was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So
I don't
maybe I
understand how
shouldn't.
vimdim fits into your toggle command.
Oh, VimDim just like all the colors that it defines
Mm-hmm.
are just it doesn't use any RGB value. It just uses relative color.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so if every color that Vim tries to display as a relative color, that means it'll be affected by me.
So it's not a plugin, it's just a color scheme.
Exactly. Yes. It's just an extremely restricted color scheme.
That uses named relative
Exactly.
colors.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't NeoVim by now have support for inversing colors for dark mode or something?
It might,
I
but I
think
guess
that
like
it's a bit much to expect. It's a bit naive because I don't think simply inversing the colors actually gets you a pleasant result.
yeah.
I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. I'm gonna get this. Okay, here we go.
I'm back.
Okay, perfect timing. We should be back in business. API lib
Inlay.
coming any second now. No,
It's
no, that looks completely. They're
it's
italic.
italic.
Highlight, highlight, non. I got the italic, but this 12 is coming from.
Maybe something else is overriding it
That would
later.
explain why it's different than. Okay, interesting. Huh? What the heck? Okay, so if I just open up and if I do highlight non-text, yeah. Okay.
Search your codes for non-text.
Yeah,
Heck, search your raw config file.
I'm doing that right now. The term FG, no, nothing there. Non-text. It's not in the flat file, but now I gotta look at the whole runtime path. How am I gonna find the runtime path? Can you just print out the Vim runtime path?
Likely. You have a REPL.
Yeah. Boom. Now I've got this stuff in a regular old buffer. That's lovely. That's so lovely. Are these all various thingies?
Underscore value seems like. Now you have comma separated.
Yeah.
Closing commas with line feeds.
No. This is not Lua files. What is
There are
that?
paths to Lua files. There are paths to directories that contain Lua files, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna start with the Pactor. Just to see if I get lucky. C term. Darn it. Okay. These might have Lua files. These might exist, and if they exist, they might have Lua code in them. Okay, got it. All right. Slash temp slash search dot txt for f in cat. Do I don't. mm, Can I
RG.
just? I can just do RG on multiple folders, can't I? Like that. Apparently not.
Did you
Where's it?
did you just paste that?
I tried to.
Did you paste it quoted?
I didn't think I'd want to quote it. Is it got
If you
asterisk?
paste line feeds into the terminal, they are like pressing enter.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me try that differently. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me run that again. Okay. So the term.
Non-text.
Yeah. Well, what's the one we're looking for? Non-text. Thank you.
Search for non-text instead.
Yeah. All right. So there's the line of code we changed in vimdim itself. And then, oh, what is this? Default light. Oh, this is another piece of Vimdim. Ah,
Hmm.
okay. Vimdim.
But it's interesting that we were not using the light thing.
On. There it is. What do you mean we're not using the light?
We were not, oh,
It's right
oh.
here. Suspicious. Okay, comment that out.
But maybe that's the way it's designed. Like, instead of commenting it out, give it the value.
Yeah, well, I ended up doing it up high, but what I did here, I guess I don't really understand. Why was it written this way, where they wrote up above, they said non-text, C term FG equals blue, but then just a little lower down, they clobbered it with C term FG equals 12,
Is it the same
which
file?
is, yeah, same file. Default light.vim. I don't think there are like if statements in here.
Maybe it's just a bug. Not
Yeah,
everyone uses non-text.
right. Okay, I'm pushing that change. Show. This is my commit now. Okay, and now do our theme patches. Going to this one. Okay. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I needed to get over the hump and just do this.
The terror.
The terror.
Hmm.
Every time I start messing with my Vim configuration, it turns into a whole thing. Okay. Tools slash deploy. Next run. Here we go. I don't have to wait for my full system rebuild. Okay. API lib. Okay, there we go. Italicized inlay hint. Thank you.
Cool.
All right. I'll rotate. Unless you want to actually test it out. I'm happy to drive a little longer.
Well, whatever.
Okay, let's hit the timer. Goodbye, everything. Okay, start timer. So, what are we doing? We are trying to get something to compile? I don't even know.
It was a runtime error where the path wasn't correct, and then we wanted to understand what is the default path in which the JSON would be served, and is
Right.
it part of the that endpoint API service
I
Swagger
don't think we
UI?
know. It's one of these. It's probably one of these two. But
Maybe it would be under API v1 OpenAPI.json.
Yeah, maybe. We can check. Cargo test.
Guess not.
It gave us a 400, not a 404. That's strange.
Oh, because we have a path. What's we have a path for that? That like we have a route for that, don't we? Is it what's our endpoint?
API
Pulls?
service.
Pull?
Oh, yeah. API v1, Open API service, API. It's, oh, yeah. Okay, so
It's at
that
the
gets
root.
captured probably. And that's not a valid, like, PR. It's probably failing here because it's
I'm
not a,
confused about that though. Is that already the case in main where it's like either a PR or health check?
I think that's how we have it written. Your tracker, plus API, v1 plus health. Okay. Or did we actually, did we unintentionally change our API? No? Yeah, yeah. So health check succeeds. That's a 200. Kind of hard to tell. That's a 200. And then if I do like this, this thing hasn't landed anywhere.
I don't like that.
I agree. I don't. I think we are due for a V2 API, and maybe we do that as part. After we get this thing documented, or
Maybe before.
yeah, we could also do it before. Given that this is like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. We should like probably say polls, like get landings should probably show up somewhere. Yeah.
I don't mind doing it after. I'm just concerned that we might not be able to. Because how
We
uh
might not be able to change it, or might not be able to document this.
might not be able to implement because this is like a nested route and it has to do with matching and the order of I mean I'm even surprised that this is supported, like that this works. That when you
Yeah,
ask for health check, I think it probably right. So when you ask for health check, so health check is an absolute one, and so it probably I don't know if it's going through the absolute paths first, and then if it doesn't match on them, it goes through the dynamic ones,
yeah,
parameterized ones.
that sounds plausible.
So and but if that's the case that as soon as if we hit that open API.json, we should get it, but we just don't know what the default is. So how about we go read the docs or the
Yep.
code, see what is the default for that. Um, it should be a trait method or the derive. So probably the derive. Um,
Sorry, which derive?
um, oh, so it's not a derive. It's an attribute, Open API attribute.
Sorry, are we talking about
The
this thing?
the one above it. Yeah,
This one.
that.
Okay.
I'm just guessing that's where you'd
That's an
attribute macro.
attribute macro.
Mm-hmm. Prefix path. Find the
You think
prefix
this
for
might
all
be
operation. Huh? We're not using that.
I'm not sure that it's gonna serve up the JSON under our own API. Like I think it's more likely it's going to serve it up under the UI.
Take a look at that method.
UI
Oh,
equals
also, what is
Swagger.
Open API Service New, right? That comes from there.
Yep.
I think that's probably
Okay, let's see.
new.
Create an open API container.
What? Oh, API is a T.
Mm-hmm.
It takes title and version. T is our API.
Yeah, it doesn't have any bound that I see here at least.
It has
But yeah.
methods, so maybe it's a builder pattern.
Mm-hmm. Spec endpoint. This is a spec endpoint. Create an endpoint to serve the open API spec as JSON.
There you go.
So this is maybe optional.
Well, it creates an endpoint and returns it, so you have to mount it.
Oh, this is not a builder. This is not part of the builder pattern.
It's not. It's just a getter.
Okay.
Oh, it's a creator.
So then, how does their
And then,
front end work without this API endpoint defined? I guess they're doing server side rendering, like serving up the front end with an HTML with the JSON embedded into it or something.
sorry, I lost you at server side. Everything. What is not server side?
So what I'm
They
confused about is, and like this would be easily answered if we could just run the darn thing.
Mm,
Um, like they're serving up a Swagger UI, right? Like if we had an easy way to run our thing, we could try going to slash, and we would expect to see the Swagger UI, right? Can I
yeah,
actually just run our thing? Or will it not work because it's going to try to connect to the database? And
yeah. You need a database context.
yeah, and we haven't built that tooling, right?
Not tooling to run it, but I think one way to do that is to break in a test or something.
Oh, and a test that actually starts up the server.
Yeah,
Do we have any tests that truly start up
a
the server?
NixOS test.
Oh, and a NixOS. I mean, this is hacky, but like we've got our like migrate, like so I can comment out that line of code, and then can't I just like, oh wait, no, BB pool gonna. Yeah, like what if I comment all this out and then try to do like a cargo run? Would that work?
Yeah, you'd have some.
Is it running?
Think so?
Okay, sweet. Okay, so the thing I was wondering is this thing, this front end that we're looking at, somehow is getting its hands on our Open API specification, right?
See the DevTools. Reload.
Okay, and it's not. This is
It's
where I
not.
started rambling about server-side rendering. I was expecting to see this thing make an API call to fetch it, and it doesn't.
It's preloaded,
Meaning it's
right?
rendered into the HTML, right? There it is. Let spec equals. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So that's why they don't have to define an Open API endpoint to build this UI. They can just bake it into the HTML payload. All right, that answered my question. Undo, undo, undo. I will rotate. Mob. Wait, what have I got here? Mob. All right, go for it.
Seems like progress.
So I think we should just mount this thing. We like the idea of exposing this, right?
I think that's expected. The UI is useful, but there's something about this machine readable spec that is machinable. So our test would be whatever we want it to be, right?
Yeah.
And what should it be? Should it be this? Or does
Would it
OpenAPI
be?
support versions?
Yeah. Would it? I don't
I
know how
think
that
it
works.
does. It should. Yeah, it should support versions. Why not? How does OpenAPI spec support versioning? Doesn't have built-in versioning mechanism for the API itself. It leaves this up to developers to implement. You can still handle versioning in a few different ways, depending on your API structure, use case, and community. There are some standard methods for this versioning. URL version is the most common approach. Place the version directly into the URL. Each new version is defined as a separate OpenAPI spec file. So, for example, V1 might have one spec and V2 would have another, potentially with different paths, parameters, and responses. That's header versioning, parameter versioning, content negotiation, OpenAPI info object. You can set a version field within the info object. This seems nice, but I'm kind of surprised that it's different OpenAPI spec files.
I mean, that doesn't. I don't know. I guess I don't have any expectation.
If you link us to an example of a public version OpenAPI spec. What is this link? Is there an OpenAPI file here?
Descriptions plural. Maybe there are a bunch in here. GitHub Enterprise something. Ooh, that's a casual 10 megabyte JSON file. Don't click view.
Can handle it.
Yeah. Well, if you asked it to do it with syntax highlighting, I bet it would have crapped out on you.
There's There's info version here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they don't have breaking versions here, so it's just the latest version because it never broke.
Oh,
Number of public version open. That's like that. Code nature. I don't expect it to succeed. Bookmarks. Search here. I'm not finding Open API here.
yeah.
Do you do you think it's not worth it, and we should go for something
Well,
that
I
obvious?
mean, how do we expect to structure our Rust code if we were to introduce a V2? Do we think we would just define the V2 alongside the V1, or do we think
Yeah,
we'd just drop the V1?
yeah. Keep it simple. No, what do you mean drop?
Well, I mean, are we allowing
Not
ourselves
support
to make breaking changes? Can we do we actually anticipate supporting V1 alongside V2?
from a software project standpoint. Yes, from a deployment service status standpoint, no.
I'm not sure I understand the distinction.
If if I do a software, if I'm the author of this software project, I don't care as much about my users as if I am the person deploying it for Nix packages infrastructure. If I've
Hmm.
already deployed it to Nix packages infrastructure, and then I'm also the author of the software project, I would say no, I'm not willing at this point to break any endpoints.
Yeah. So like I I think the way that we're currently generating our Open API specs, we're generating specifications for all the APIs, like the V1 and a hypothetical V2. It might be possible to like only generate them for some chosen subset.
I'm also inclined to. First, what we're seeing here is wrong. Right? What we just saw on your screen
This
is
thing,
wrong. It doesn't have the prefix. Where's the
correct?
versioning?
Yep, good point.
So I don't think we should like nest it under something at the top level. No, it should the API struct should include at least the version, right? At least the V1, if not the entire API. It's um like why do we even have API? If anything, that should be a configurable prefix, right?
Uh, I guess this gives us the space to add a UI in the future, and I think our vision does
Mm,
uh, have
that's what we
plans
thought.
for a UI, like if we do the configurable webhook stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. No, okay, yeah. If there's both, then it makes sense. So
So
I think
I
that
agree.
We
Go ahead.
should pre. I think there's probably line numbers, please. I think on line 63 we should be able to add a prefix.
Dot. An API derive something right there. Attribute macro. Prefix path. Nice. Okay, so we'll do that. This will be /API/v1.
Yeah.
And in the future, if we have a v2, it can be a completely different struct. And then this nest is just on slash. So we hope that this doesn't conflict with the UI. Do we want to run
Well, I
this
don't
thing
think
again?
that the UI should be there, right?
Yeah,
And
it could be
also,
like /doc/API or something. Or we
mhm,
don't even necessarily have to host a Swagger. I mean,
we
you
should.
know,
We should. It's convenient. Why not?
/doc/API/Swagger. What do you think?
Why is it even a nest? Why is it not at?
Maybe at would work.
Well, the API service would be a nest. What's the difference?
This takes adds an endpoint to specified endpoint singular, nest an endpoint, and strip the prefix.
What prefix?
So I think if you do nest like this means that UI can expect things to show up at like /index.html, and then a user coming in,
Oh,
right? Like it'll strip this before
got
feeding
it.
it onto UI,
Yeah.
which lets you kind of move these things around without having to change them.
Uh-huh.
So I think probably nest of slash is probably equivalent to at because there's no prefix to strip, right? And so
I'm
maybe it's
willing
just
to buy that.
a semantic thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know which feels more semantically correct. Like the fact that we don't expect this thing to get moved around because it's like defining our damn API, and we want to actually define the API, kind of makes it feel like it might be more semantically correct.
I agree. It's also simpler.
Okay, it is done.
And I don't know that Swagger even cares. It probably doesn't even act upon the path.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does, right? Like, it's probably like CSS that serves up at some location, and this seems like it's a single file. And we did look at the, yeah. We could try at.
Mm-hmm. Right. What does it do in the example?
I mean, we got this code from some example code. Example, open API. Let's search there. Example, Swagger UI. They use Next.
Okay, then use nest. They
They also
they
use
know
it
best.
for Slack. So, I don't know. Do you want to use it for both, or what do you?
No, well, we can use at for API service.
Great. All right, and then that won't boot up because it's trying to migrate.
And I don't feel comfortable with not having a command that runs a dummy.
I would like to have such a command.
I did feel comfortable until now because there was all the logic was ours, and there was nothing that we could not express in a test ahead of time. Now we want to see how
Yeah,
something behaves.
yeah.
We don't know. It's like exploration.
I'm gonna sign off at this point. Need to get to sleep. But I agree. Let's add a simple just run the darn thing. It'll be
Hmm.
very easy.
All right. Good work
Great.
today, Jeremy.
You too.
Thank you for participating.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and message me if you want to join us. And otherwise, be well. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.